Morant with a running start. Elevates. Oh, it dunks. Oh, my goodness.
Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn his heave. It's good. Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now with three. Count it. A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance.
Adams going long. Morant. He hit it. Ja Morant, insanity.
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. Grizzlies win 5 straight edition. My name is Keith Parish. The Grizzlies defeated the Detroit Pistons 114-103 on Friday night. They improved to 7-0 in Friday night home games. They get their first 5-game win streak of the season. They are 3-0 on the current homestand. This is now the 9th 5-game win streak in the Ja Morant, Taylor Jenkins era. Of course, last season, the team set a franchise record with an 11-game win streak. But all of a sudden, the Grizzlies have found their winning groove, even without Desmond Bane. Yes, a lot of it is the schedule. The schedule settled for the Grizzlies. They got some easier opponents, and they get this extended home stretch. And, of course, the games are spaced out. After the Friday game, they got Saturday, Sunday off before they're going to play the Hawks game on Monday night. It's another big game for the Grizzlies, playing a decent opponent, although the Hawks are struggling kind of badly right now. Also, DeJounte Murray will not be available for the Hawks. So the Hawks are going to be desperate for a win, so it would be great if the Grizzlies continue their winning ways, continue their ways that have put them near the top of the Western Conference. The Grizzlies now 17-9, things going pretty well overall. And of course, it is the defense. I think we got to say from this game, it was the defense that won it. It was not the offense that was clicking. Ja Morant had 15 points. He was only 6 out of 20 from the field. Ja did have 12 assists. It was Ja's 3rd consecutive game with double-digit assists, and he has only done that 2 other times in his career. He's never had 4 straight games with 10 or more assists, so that's something he can aim for on Monday night. But it was the defense. You did not get huge offensive performances. The best offensive performance was from Jaren Jackson Jr., but you hold the Pistons to 103 points, and that's good enough. You got off to a very fast start in the first quarter. Dillon had 11 points in the first quarter on 5 out of 6 field goals. You scored 34 points. You kind of get up to a lead. But then that lead in the second quarter, it goes away. Now, the Pistons lost to the Grizzlies last Sunday as well, and the Grizzlies led that one wire to wire. And so the Grizzlies had a lead over the Pistons for 5.5 consecutive quarters before a couple of Kevin Knox three-pointers for the Pistons gave them the lead in the second quarter, as the Grizzlies were quite sluggish in that second quarter. But then in the third quarter, I think you felt the defense woke up. The offense turned some of that defense into offense. The Grizzlies won the third quarter on Friday night, 37-25, and you got up 20 going into the fourth, and the fourth was disgusting. The Grizzlies had their second lowest scoring quarter of the season, only eked out 16 points. We were having a watch party in Nashville, and I'll be honest, it was a little dull in the fourth quarter. People weren't exactly that exciting. The Grizzlies basically held on for the win. They missed all 10 of their 3-point attempts in the fourth quarter. But hey, win's a win. If there is a good offensive angle to this one, it is Jaren Jackson Jr., who has continued his scintillating start to this season. Jaren Jackson Jr. led the Grizzlies with 20 points. 8 out of 12 on his field goal attempts, 3 out of 5 on 3-pointers. He also picked up 4 more blocks. Why not? Jaren is up to 37% from 3 on the season. If you throw out that 0 for 7 first game, he's making 43% of his three-pointers. His blocks, he's averaging 3.2 blocks per game after 10 games. He has an 11% block percentage on the season. Someone pointed this out to me in my Fast Break Breakfast Slack. That would be the highest block percentage in NBA history. The best ever block percentage season is from Manute Bull. It was like 10.5%. Jaren right now blocking 11% of shots. Also, by the way, Jaren moved to 15th in scoring, by the way, in franchise history. He passed Jason Williams for all-time scoring list. But Jaren Jackson Jr. this season has been absolutely awesome, and you saw more and more of it, scoring on the inside, knocking down the three-pointers, and just owning the rim, owning the paint, blocking shots over and over. Jaren is honestly playing at an all-star form right now. Also, Jaren's front court buddy, Brandon Clark, had a big one in this one. Brandon has now posted 17 points in consecutive games. That's his season high. He's also made over 80% of his field goals in the last 2 games. He now has 13 games in his career with at least 8 field goal attempts and making 80% or more of those attempts. That is tied for Pau Gasol as the most such games in franchise history. During this Grizzlies 5-game win streak, Brandon Clark has scored in double digits in all 5 of them. He's averaging 13.8 points per game and 7.4 rebounds per game during this 5-game win streak. His field goal percentage in the last 5, 73.8%. The only flaw to Brandon's game on Friday was he missed some free throws, but guess what? The entire team missed free throws. Brandon Clark led the way, going 3 for 7 from the foul line. The team, which as you know is last in the NBA in free throw percentage, they were 17 of 32 from the foul line. One of these reasons this game was as close as it was, and it wasn't a blowout, the Grizzlies defended well enough for it to be a blowout, but they were 17 for 32 from the foul line and 9 for 32 on three-pointers. Only made 9 threes on 28.1% accuracy and then 53% from the foul line. That's just awful. Terrible. But luckily, we have enough talent where when we don't play our best, we can still get those victories over some of the less good NBA teams. But Brandon Clark, great game again. I hope his playing time keeps ticking up. I'm a huge Brandon Clark fan, and he's been playing very, very well. Dillon, after that quick start, kind of trailed off. He only finished with 16 points. He got 4 assists. I mean, I'll take it. That's a great Dillon Brooks game as far as looking in the box score, if you ask me. 16 points, 4 assists, 1 turnover. Beautiful. Keep up the good work. Steven Adams was very impactful, I felt, in his minutes. Although he left, I guess that's the biggest story for him. Yeah, he finished with 10 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. But he was questionable before the game. He actually missed the first game against the Pistons on Sunday. He did end up playing in this one, but he left with an ankle injury. And his status for the Hawks game on the Hawks game on Monday is up in the air. I will post that in the show's description when that news posts later on Sunday afternoon. I thought Conchar truly had an excellent game. He didn't make a three-pointer, but he made an impact by just being aggressive with the ball when he got it, cutting towards the basket. He finished with 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. But if you watch the game, I thought his minutes were excellent. He made a lot of really good contributions. Tyus Jones had 10 points and 7 assists, also 6 rebounds. Tyus moved into 10th in franchise history in assists. He passed Earl Watson. By the way, Dillon Brooks, as I'm looking at these all-time franchise scoring marks or all-time franchise ranks, in the previous game where he made 5 3-pointers, he passed O.J. Mayo for fifth in franchise history in made three-pointers. He only trails Mike Conley, Mike Miller, Jason Williams, and Rudy Gay. Zaire Williams played his second game of the season. Not a lot to talk about, really. 2 points and 4 rebounds, played just 16 and a half minutes. Those start of the second and fourth quarter lineups that I definitely believe in did not perform particularly well. I assume once Zaire gets up to speed, it'll be a little bit better, but they both got outscored a little bit. Those are the Tyus Jones, Zaire, Dylan Brooks, Brandon, and Jaren lineups. Again, the defense was fine, it seemed like. Just the shots weren't going in, and maybe the pace of play, the energy, the zip seemed to be a little bit lacking. But they're going to need it to improve. Like, again, we're feeling good as a Grizzlies team with this 5-game win streak. Like, of course you would. But after you play the Hawks on Monday, which could be a difficult game, coming up, you get the Bucks. You have a home game against the Bucks on Thursday. The good news is another couple days off. Then that's the end of the homestand. After that, things get very intense. You go on the road, you play at the Thunder, and then nationally televised games at the Nuggets, at the Suns, at the Warriors on Christmas. Then after that, you come home, and then you play a home game against the Suns, go back on the road against the Raptors, and then you come back home for New Year's Eve, where you play the Pelicans, who have been incredible recently, and then on New Year's Day, at home, you play the Kings. The Kings have also been on fire. So again, the next 8 games, Hawks, Bucks, Nuggets, Suns, Warriors, Suns, Raptors, Pelicans, Kings. Those are not easy games. Those are hard games. Now, we hope Desmond Bane will be back. Like, by New Year's Eve, could Desmond Bane be back for that home game against the Pelicans and the back-to-back against the Kings on New Year's Day? I mean, hopefully. But those are going to be a test even when fully healthy. And so we're going to need the team to continue this defensive play, but add some more improved offensive play. Like, their half-court numbers, they're the same as they were last year, which not good. Their half-court offense not very, very good. Their effective field goal percentage, basically the same as it was last year. They're 22nd in effective field goal percentage. They're getting the wins. They are right now playing teams they're better than. Whether or not they are better than these teams on the schedule coming up, the Nuggets, the Suns, and the Warriors, we hope so. We think so. When fully healthy, we would like to think so. Even if they were fully healthy, I'm not certain they're better than the Bucks. It'll be a great challenge for that Thursday home game against Milwaukee. Anyways, let's take a quick break, and then after the break, I'm going to answer a few of your questions. We'll be back right after this. Guarantee the gift of Grizz this holiday season with 6-game holiday packs starting at just $26 per game. Holiday packs feature the best matchups and giveaways, including the Warriors, Lakers, Mavs, and more. So skip them all, avoid the crowds, and warm up this season with the Grizzlies 6-game holiday pack today. Call 901-888-HOOP or shop online now at grizzlies.com. All right, I sent out a call kind of late on Sunday for a couple of questions, and I got a few. Raghav Ranga says, can you talk about Jaren's statistical impact on the defense since returning / dominant defensive lineups? Well, I mean, it's all pretty apparent. It's stark. Jaren's been awesome. I mean, the numbers are, they have a 103.8 defensive rating when he's on the court, a 111 defensive rating when he's not on the court. We saw when he wasn't playing earlier this year, their just overall team defense wasn't very good. And then since his return, it's gotten a lot better. A lot of the combos I also think are apparent We know that Jaren and Dillon together are excellent, and Jaren and Dillon and Steven in the starting lineup, also with Conchar in there. I mean, all the numbers say Conchar helps out on defense. It makes sense. He's a great rebounder, solid defender. The numbers with Jaren and Brandon are positive for defense. Even Zaire now just played 2 games, and it's a very, very small sample size. Like, while they haven't worked offensively yet, Zaire has a 88 defensive rating, or the team has an 88 defensive rating when Zaire Williams is on the court this season. Of course, he's usually playing with Dillon, Jaren, and Brandon. So Jaren's impact has been huge, clearly. Tyler Cook asks, doesn't Jaren have a legit case for Defensive Player of the Year? Of course, Tyler. Certainly. Jaren has an amazing case if he continues on this trajectory. Even if he blocks fewer shots. Yeah, he has a great chance to win it. Like the Heat, for Bam's case, the Heat aren't good enough right now. Rudy Gobert is not going to win Defensive Player of the Year. The Timberwolves aren't good enough, and his numbers aren't that good, and the Timberwolves' defensive numbers aren't very good. Marcus Smart's not going to win it again. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to win another one. The voters aren't going to make him a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Like maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo is worth monitoring just because he's so good at everything, and the Bucks are such a good team. But if Jaren plays the appropriate number of games, if he doesn't have a long absence, and if he leads the NBA in blocks again, and if the Grizzlies as a team defend how they are defending, if they finish with a top 5 defense, yes, Jaren has an awesome chance at winning Defensive Player of the Year. Basketball, John Jones asks, Jaren Jackson Jr. or Desmond Bane, which one is more critical to the Grizz ceiling / playoff success this year? That is an amazing question. It's an amazing question. Specifying their ceiling and their playoff success, I don't know if it makes sense to pick either one, because I think you have to have both. To hit their ceiling, you have to have both. I mean, I guess I would go with Jaren, now that I think about it for 1 second longer. You got to have the defense and the rim protection, I think. I don't think you can video game just score your way past the teams you would need to, like if you just had Ja and Desmond. But of course, if you have Ja and Jaren, I don't think you have enough offensive and half-court creation, enough shot creators without Desmond. So I think if the question were framed about regular season success, I still would say probably Jaren's maybe more important for regular season success, although I don't know. Jaren has played a little lighter stretch of opponents now, and the Grizzlies have racked up these wins. But, for me, you got to have both if you're going to hit your ceiling. If you're going to win a title, you got to have both of them. If either one's missing, I don't think you have a chance at winning the title. Caleb McNeese asks, has Santi successfully replaced Slow-Mo yet? I think you could say probably yes. I mean, there are times where we've missed Kyle Anderson and his ability to fill in and do everything. But you see with the way Santi has been making 3-pointers just in the last game. I mean, he made a couple more. The way Santi is hitting those corner threes and is able to play solid defense, he's blocking shots. I'm not saying he's better than Kyle, but right now the fit makes sense. And you see why when you weigh in the stuff like age and contract and having, to sign Kyle, to pay him more, to keep him, it made sense to go younger, go with Santi, and Santi as this backup 4 / front court fill-in has been excellent. So in that sense, yeah, I think the decision to move on and even to replace Kyle with Jake LaRavia. When Jake LaRavia was out there, him providing that spacing that they wanted, despite knowing you might give up something on defense and just veteran know-how, it probably, yes, those minutes have been replaced. I think the idea of Santi and Jake developing raises your ceiling from what you would have gotten from Kyle Anderson. The Church of Santi asks, Have you landed on a new favorite Grizzly, and why is it our Lord and Savior Santi Aldama? No, I have not picked a new favorite Grizzly yet, although I'm definitely enticed by Santi Aldama. He has been super fun. And then finally, Gary David asks, is Jay Crowder still a possibility? No, I don't think so. I do not anticipate the Grizzlies trading for Jay Crowder. If they wanted Jay Crowder, they could have had him a while ago, I would think. Although maybe not. I mean, maybe the Suns didn't really want anything the Grizzlies were willing to offer for Jay Crowder. I would be super surprised if the Grizzlies brought in Jay Crowder. I mean, Jay Crowder is probably ideally a stretch 4, sort of like a bigger 3. The Grizzlies' front court rotation is very, very set, and they're very, very comfortable with it, having Jaren and Steven Adams and Santi Aldama and Brandon Clark. And then, if needed, you get Jake LaRavia. Could he be play 3 more? Because you need maybe those minutes, wing minutes are more valuable or more in need for the Grizzlies. Possibly, but even with Bane out, with having Dylan and Conchar and Zaire and Roddy, I think they are comfortable with those guys playing all the minutes. That's why I was talking to Chris Harrington last week on the show that we did for the Daily Memphian. It's also up on my YouTube channel if you want to go check it out there. But I don't see them really even making like a small move as far as a trade, because I think they're comfortable with just giving minutes to the players they already have under contract, and I don't think these trades are going to move the needle that much. Now, if there's another injury, or if it comes up to the playoffs and you realize you are going to miss someone, I could maybe see them making a minor move at the trade deadline for a team that's out of it and selling off pieces, because you feel like you're not going to waste a playoff opportunity when you have a healthy Ja Morant, when you're in Ja's prime. And if Ja and Bane and Jaren are all healthy and you find out Danny Green's not coming back, well, then it would make sense to go ahead and do something to bolster up for a playoff run. And finally, one more question. In AU Ishville, it's like an Auburn Nashville thing. Are this year's rookies ahead of where last year's were? Hard to say. I mean, last year, through the team's first however many games, let's say through December 10th of last year, Zaire Williams had played 19 games, was averaging under 5 points per game, was shooting 35% from the field and 24% from 3. And this year, through December 10th, Roddy has played more games. He's averaging 6 points per game, 39% from the field, 32% from 3. LaRavia is 42% from the field, 41% from the field, and 39% from 3. So, Zaire was more of a project. Roddy, LaRavia, both older than Zaire. And, maybe it's maybe they're a little bit more developed. So I could say there's a strong argument that this year's rookies are, in fact, further along than Zaire was. Santi, of course, last year was awful, barely played at all. So if you're just saying the first, 25 games of the season last year, I think Roddy and LaRavia and even Chandler, Chandler's played in 10 games so far. Roddy and LaRavia, it is fair to say they are further ahead than Zaire Williams and Santi Aldama were at the same time last year. But, of course, Santi and Zaire were a little bit younger. Actually, Santi was 21 last year, so never mind. Forget that. They were more projects. I think more of developmental cases where Roddy and LaRavia, both people, I think generally they were thought of as being a little bit more ready to play. Anyways, thank you guys all for the questions. Thanks for listening to this episode. Please subscribe to the Grits and Grinds YouTube channel. And, of course, write a 5-star review on any podcast app where you are listening to this episode. Anyways, I hope you're having a great Monday. I will talk to you soon. Go Grizz.